the United States because of medical errors. And very recently, we just introduced, if you look into the new curriculum which is on the website, writing a prescription was never possible. You know, doctors and writing only, chemists would read or God can read. So now it is necessary how to write a prescription is part of the curriculum. It is also part of the curriculum in postgraduate degree of how to write prescription. Not undergraduate only, postgraduates, they all must know about the drug interactions. Medical ethics includes now medical errors. For the first time in medical council in 60 years, we have an SOP of how medical negligence cases to be looked into, how soon they should be done, and all that is transparent on the website. But I want to tell you a story. Just for a minute's time, very short. You must have heard the story of the rabbit and the tortoise. So the tortoise and the rabbit decided to run a race. And the rabbit thought it is very smart, so he could rest under the sun. He was resting and the tortoise walked and he won the race. But the story doesn't end here. The moral was slow and steady win, but it doesn't. So the next day, this guy rabbit thought, look, I'm not that stupid. Why did I rest? He went back to the tortoise and said, let's have a race again. Tortoise thought, look, I'm a champion, I can win again. So they again started running. This time rabbit, of course, he was smart, he timed this thing, and he was there in half the time and he won the race. So of course, smart people win the race. But the story doesn't end here. So the next day, the tortoise went to him and said, why don't we run a race again? He said, rabbit thought, look, I'm smart, I know the route, everything else. But the tortoise said, look, we were running this side, we'll go this side. He said, all right, no problem, any trail you take. But there was a river in between. So when it was half day, the tortoise could swim across while the rabbit had to stay back. And the strategy won and the intelligence lost. And the evening, well, of course, tortoise won. The story doesn't end here. So the next day, both of them met and decided to work together. And they started on the same direction. While it was land, tortoise was on the back of the rabbit. When it was sea, the rabbit was on the back of the tortoise. And they ran and could finish in half the time. But I want to say, the Indian Chamber, the people here, if they join hands, you have the speed, you have the vision, don't stop. We are slow, moving along, but if you all join hands, maybe India will go much better.
One last question, please. Yes.
Well, it's predicted that by the year 2060, India's population can reach as much as 2 billion people. With so much of expertise, with so much of democracy India prevails, if there's one lesson that you can convey to the existing population to control the population, what that lesson could be?
The answers over here. So my answer is that the example of places in India where population is already under control, and that's Kerala, where women's education is 99%, and I don't think there's anything else besides women's education that can achieve this fast as it has been achieved in Kerala. So women's education for me.
Well, I think what you said has a lot of relevance and it is stabilizing, but it is for certain communities it is not working. For most communities it is working, but I think we need to have something like a Chinese rule. If you have two, you have to be penalized. If you have one, you are lucky. But it is not going to work out.
It's not a great challenge.
He's from Kerala and he's not answering, but he's a man. So.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Ahluwalia and Mona, who's a spectacular president, and all of you for coming and joining us. And hopefully we can open it up further.
Again, I wish we had more time, but we had promised to start on time. finish on time and we want to live up to our promise. Next time we'll probably have a 3-hour program because there was so much knowledge to be shared. I would like our volunteers and our, if Abhilasha would walk around and collect your survey forms before we finish. I do want to recognize the sponsor of today's program, Harish Kathrani, and I invite him to come up here and present the mentor to our people. Harish Kathrani from the Southside Group of Businesses. If you look at the back of the program, it tells you a little about the business. I would encourage you to turn your program over and look at it. Inside the program, we have details, the bios of our speakers, our new members, and I want to recognize our platinum member, Jackson Walker, represented by Monty Jones. Monty, will you stand and be recognized, please? Thank you. So before I present the vote of thanks, I want Harish to please present these to our speakers. Harish Kathrani. Mona, will you join me on the podium, please? And if you'll indulge me, I'd like to have a small group picture. And while they are taking the group picture, I want to thank Dr. Durga Agarwal, our founding president. I had the privilege of being the founding secretary of this chamber, so we go back a long way. And we were part of the King Francis Academy. Gopal Sabjani, our director at large, a very strong supporter from the biotechnology sector, who's been with the chamber right from the beginning. He's our director at large. Ashok Garg, our treasurer. Akubhai, who was the brain behind the business part of it, so you know whose brain to pick if you need it. Dr. Tripathi, the president of the Indian Doctors Association, a member of the chamber and a close associate. And I want to thank every one of you who took the time to come here today to be with us.